right where you left it. Everything stays, but it still changes ever so slightly, daily and nightly, in little ways, when everything stays.
Hey guys, my name is Andini. Today I want to show you how to color a simple watercolor painting with two basic techniques. So, let's get it started. First, the materials you will need are, obviously you need a surface to work on. So first, you need a surface. I recommend using a piece of watercolor paper taped on cardboard, or in my case, a watercolor pad. You can also use a thicker form of sketchbook paper. Just don't use regular printer paper because it will be too thin to stand the water. Second, you need paintbrushes. You can choose any paintbrush you want depending on what you want to color and how you want to color it. This one is for more defined, proper lines, better for edges, while the other one is more sloppy but gives a nice transitioning effect from color. The third thing you will need is obviously watercolor paint. What I have here is a watercolor palette, but you can also use watercolor tubes and watercolor pens. I like watercolor palette because I think it's more efficient and it's not as sloppy as the watercolor tubes. That's only my opinion. You can use whatever you want. Next are 2 cups of water, one for clean water and one for dirty water. The dirty water is for cleaning your paintbrushes after you mix the palette, which you will have to wet with the clean water. It's better to have this because if not, then you'll just mix the dirty water with the clean water and the colors will become all nasty, and you don't want that. Next is just a piece of tissue or paper towel, anything, just to dab excess water and paint. So the first step is to have a sketch or a drawing that you want to color. I would recommend not shading the drawing because if you do that, then you see there's really no point because it's going to be colored in paint anyway. Plus the paint's going to be all dirty when it touches pencil. So yeah, you might want to erase that if you sketched it out. Also try to use an HB pencil, not a 2B pencil, because 2B pencils are really thick and they're better for exams than for drawing. So the first technique that I'm going to show you, the wet on wet technique. So first, you just want to wet the surface that you want to do the wet on wet technique. So the wet on wet technique gives it a more blurred effect, and it's really pretty for backgrounds, but I decided to use it for the hair just because it's really pretty. So you need to put it in clean water, because if you do it in dirty water, obviously the paint will show kind of on the sketch. Of course you can't see it right here because I haven't painted anything. So you don't want it to be too wet, but if it's too wet you can just dab the sketch with a tissue. So I'm going to use this blue. So wet the palette, the blue, see? It's like a blurred effect. This is really pretty and I really like it. So while it's wet, you can just work your way with your paintbrush and then pull it downwards or upwards or any way you want. So that's just one of the ways to color it. So the second technique is the wet on dry effect. So it's basically putting wet paint on a dry surface. So I'm gonna put my dirty paintbrush in the dirty water. Well, it's not dirty yet, but it's gonna be dirty. So dab the excess water on the tissue, a paper towel, put the clean water, and then grab a new color or the same color depending on what you want. So I'm gonna paint the bow with the wet on dry effect. I'm gonna choose this pinkish red color. just do it, you know. The wet on dry effect is better with defined lines like what I'm doing here. See? And it gives off more of a vibrant color than the blurred effect, the wet on dry. I mean, wet on wet. So you see? The color really shows. So I'm just continuing coloring this. See? If it's too light, you can just add more paint. Or if it's too dark, you can just like add more water and then dab the excess paint. So that's basically just me continuing the drawing. I'm not going to show you the whole process, obviously. Also, you can remove color from the sketch with tissue while the paint is still wet. So, you know, that's a nifty little technique. So, as you can see, I finished the whole painting. And this is like also the wet on wet technique. But I really like this effect because it looks like the paint is dripping, which it actually is. So you just put like more water on it. Also, I mixed the wet on wet and wet on dry effect, which you can do obviously, see? So the skin was wet on dry, but the cheeks are wet on wet. So you can just mix it up. So this is also one of the other examples of my finished drawings. So you can just play around with it, mix the techniques, and discover new techniques. That's it from me. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And check out my personal YouTube channel, which I will post more artsy videos like this, short movies, etc., etc. Link in the description box below. Thanks for watching. Bye.